everyone, it's Ivan with KeepBadger.com, here to bring another gun review today. Talking about this guy right here, which is the Brownells Retro Clone, their XBRN177E2. A while back, Brownells introduced an entire line of retro rifles. Honest, like true to type reproductions of the originals. This one originally coming about back in 1967, being fielded through till 1982, and honestly probably beyond. Probably stuck around the armories for quite a while, but initially came about in Vietnam. And true to type, it has a 12.7-inch barrel, 1 in 12 twist, does not like heavy bullets. And then it has the XM177 moderator. It's pinned and welded, so per ATF, 16-inch barrel, you don't run into problems there. All the other stuff, again, true to type, the M16 A1 receivers, actual anodized gray, not painted, anything like that. Phosphate and chrome bolt. And yeah, like the whole 9 yards, to include the car stock back here, adjustable on the buffer tube, and true faithful reproductions. That said, how have I used this rifle? Well, I actually took this down and ended up competing with it down in the Desert Brutality competition put on by KE Arms and InRange TV. Really awesome, fun, well-run competition, and yeah, I shot this. I was shooting, they have tons of different divisions, well, like 4 or 5, one of which is the retro division. So you need a pistol and rifle that were originally manufactured between 1946 or 47, I think, up to, I don't know, like 83, 87, somewhere in there. And I went, shot this, also my HK P7 M8. Through that competition, won. This was a ton of fun. In part, it's a light rifle. Nowadays, we strap so much stuff to our guns, they get really heavy really fast. This thing, running it slick with these irons, sub 6 pounds. I think about 5 pounds, 13 ounces. And now really light, really handy. I will say, while I do like A2 iron sights, stuff like that, these iron sights, not a huge fan. In part, again, true to type, the front sight is kind of conical rather than just a post coming up. I don't know if that affected me in my shooting as much as the shortened sight radius, because again, it's a little guy. And you'll see it more when I show you the accuracy, but for me during the competition, again, none of the shots were super far, shooting steel, stuff like that. Absolutely not a hindrance. If I missed, it was all me, had nothing to do with the rifle, and yeah, thing performed great. I was shooting 55 grain Minuteman munition, did good, no malfunctions, anything like that, and had a fun time out there. As far as accuracy goes with this, it does pretty good. Keep in mind, largely it's me. I'm out there shooting with these iron sights, relatively short sight radius, alpha bags. I got what I got that day. But I ended up taking out a number of different ammunitions, shot 5-shot groups, again, had this thing bagged, and did my best. Why the targets maybe look weird, I ended up basically stenciling a blue block onto paper and then threw up a 1-inch pasty just for reference when I went to go measure groups. But shot a number of 5-shot groups, and this is what I got. My first group, shooting 55 grain Minuteman munitions, 223, came in at 4.66 MOA. Would have been significantly smaller without that flyer, but it happened. My second group with that same Minuteman munitions measured 2.77 MOA. Next, I shot some 55 grain Winchester white box. First group coming in at 2.22 MOA. With my second group coming in at 2.76 MOA. Moving on to some PMC Browns 55 grain. I had a group coming in at 4.43 MOA. And my second group came in at 2.80 MOA. My first group with Frontier 55 grain came in at 4.19 MOA. With my second group measuring 3.10 MOA. Lastly, curious about some lighter loads, I tried some of this Federal Remington 40 grain. First group coming in at 2.66 MOA. And the second group, best I shot, coming in at 1.77 MOA. Definitely likes that lighter bullets with faster twist. I also tried some heavier bullets in this. I think some Gorilla 69 grain, Minuteman Munition 68, and then I actually tried some 77 grain open tip match from Black Hills, and it was a no-go. Those first two I mentioned, they were all over on paper at 100, and I tried that open tip match at 50, and it was a pretty wide group, printing low, going through sideways. That 1 in 12 just doesn't stabilize it. For whatever reason though, some of those, well mainly I think the 68 grain, actually did pretty good out of the Brownells M16E1 clone. I think largely it has to do with that 20-inch barrel though. Overall, I think this rifle is pretty rad. I've had a lot of fun with it. It was a blast to compete with. It's fun on the range, it's light, it's handy. I know some people out there like, why isn't it a quarter MOA gun? Well, appreciate, on the one hand, rat grade rifles, military, 3 MOA all day. That's all they're looking for. And this, with different loads, absolutely does better than that. And I'm sure better shooters could probably do better with this gun than me, but that's what I got out there that day. And honestly, that accuracy, plenty happy with. This thing also just has a cool factor. I mean, depending on when you grew up, watching all those old movies, people running around with these, like, yeah, this thing's a ton of fun. If you want to pick one up, you can do so over at Brownells. Just under, I think, about 1,400 bucks. And aside from being just a cool rifle, fun to shoot, it's a pretty neat little piece of history. I mean, all of our modern M4s pretty much trace their lineage straight back to this guy. But picking one up, let me know how it does for you. And as always, thanks for joining us at kitbadger.com. Look forward to seeing you next time. They're throwing him a goodbye party, but he said